Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and I wanted to do another spotlight for Poker Night at the Inventory. Now that my Steam profile says I've played 24 hours of it, I'm practically, I am done with this game at this point. It's fine as a poker game, but I'm gonna get into some more points in a moment. Let's start off with the achievements. I think that's about the right place to say. The achievements in this game, if you care about achievements, which you shouldn't, are based on whether you can get certain hands specifically. And the last two achievements I have left to get are get 4 of a kind, which is 1,080 to 1 according to Wikipedia, and then get a straight flush, which is about 580 to 1. So that's a lot of hands that you have to get to the end before you can you would have to play to get those last two achievements.
Your hair looks like a greasy hedgehog, unassociated with any video game license, that went to the barber and said, "Just a little off the sock, please."
People always assume hedgehogs are greasy. Members of the order Erinaceo are proud and extremely fastidious mammals.
You said it, not me.
Here's a
If
prime
one can overcome his
example of
trepidation at the sight of her
really
spines,
where I
a
find
hedgehog
the
can make a
problem
wonderful
now that
pet
I've played.
or
I really haven't
companion.
played 24 hours. I took some naps in between.
Their spines
fell
are not
asleep
spines at all,
in
but
between
soft
playing
hairs made
a
firm
couple
with
of
carabin.
times, but
At first, she
I
may bristle at
definitely
your touch,
played
but as she warms to you, she may place a
12
tiny paw
to
on the glass, whispering,
maybe 20
"Touch me,
hours.
touch me like no man ever could."
Okay, this is a great example actually. Each one of these characters,
I'm sorry, you were saying?
I don't really like.
Oh, nothing. Just puking in my pants.
I don't think Strong Bad's very funny. I don't think the heavy here
This
has
prolonged
a really
silence reminds me of the time I bought that
really
spotting
funny
scope and watched our
dialogue to say.
semi-attractive single neighbor sleep
Max
for an entire night.
is only really bearable when you have Sam playing off of him. And the running joke is that Gabe is interested romantically in animals, and that's a
This
running
prolonged
joke in the
silence
comic.
reminds me of the time I bought that
comes up
spotting
about
scope
once
and
a
watched our
month.
semi-attractive
No,
single
not
neighbor
once a
sleep
month,
for an
like
entire night.
once every 6 months, and it gets played way so often here. He says so much more than their comic strip ever says that I really don't like his attitude or any of his comments at all.
Check.
So
I'm betting.
I really don't like the stories these guys tell. I think their system
I
of
fold.
which they can start a story and then it will get interrupted and then they'll get back to it sometimes is kind of cool. I think the concept of 4 characters playing poker and just talking like friends would is cool. I just wouldn't be
Okay, I
friends
fold.
with any of these people.
With a bet
So-
like that, you better wash your hands.
We're gonna go
Because
in
I'm-
and out of the menu a lot. So you would think, now I have the settings up to the maximum, the gift of gab for table conversation. Let's turn it all the way down to Mum's the World. You have 4 settings here. Mum's the word. That's where we're gonna have it too.
I know you holding crap.
As soon as he starts talking, then you would think they would stop talking. But they really don't. They still, instead of just saying check, fold, all in, they'll still say have funny ways of saying it.
Thank God you're here.
Like,
Okay, I check.
Like, okay,
It's
I
free.
check. It's free. It's still a little too much for a poker game because poker games are usually designed to encourage the player to
I'll
play
toss a few
hundreds of
chippies into the
hours.
pot.
and
Chippy.
Even if I had
Call
played
this
24
baby
hours, I
fat.
am would not really enjoy this. This is a really good starter poker game for Texas Hold'em. It seems easier. It seems like it's not really running the real odds. Let's go ahead and fold because we're not going to win this hand anyways. It has a skip to the next hand.
Strong bad
It has
hands,
no
a pair
turn
of
timer,
queens.
so you can sit here and think about
The
what you're going
heavy
to do
has
forever.
two pair.
Most
The
games
heavy
would not
wins the
allow
hand.
that.
Did you think I was out of ammunition? Even then, I would just crush your tiny head in my hands.
The only thing that the achievements could have done worse is they could have given you an achievement for a royal flush, which is like
I'm folding this crap.
I would estimate
I am
a
going to
billion
play
to
this
one
one.
odds. So
Hold
unless
still.
the game is going to do a special tutorial or tournament mode where it gives you specifically a royal flush, I don't like when other games make that an achievement. It's not likely to ever happen in your
I'll
lifetime.
check too.
Professional poker players will get like 1 or 2 royal flushes in their entire career. So here we might get it straight.
I'll tell you someone you don't want to give a bad check to. Flint Paper. Physical
So-
disturbances make that man do
I
horrible
thought I turned
things.
it to
Checking.
Monster World,
Old check.
and it's still talking. So really what you have to do, if we go back to the menu, is then go to the settings and just turn the voice off. And they'll keep on talking, but at least you won't have to listen to them. And then you're just listening to the music, and for me and my appreciation of the comedy here, this was the best way for me to play it after a very short amount of time. I think each of these individually could be written better and given their own special things. In fact, I have each of these games individually. I don't think I have Team Fortress 2 actually, but I have Strong Bad's games in the Sam & Max games, and I think I have the Penny Arcade games. So I am going to play all their games, and individually they're going to be a lot better, I'm hoping. But together they say the same stories over and over again. They have an interesting system where if you knock out one guy, the commentary on one person's story gets not said. So sometimes the heavy will say a story and Max will say one response to it, but after you've heard that story 2 or 3 times, you can see the exact places where it's the same with just a slight sidebar. Again, I fold because I'm gonna lose. So look at these cards. The other system in this, which is more important and actually related to the game than the achievements, is the unlock system. So you've been looking at these card faces and this this countertop. Let's go back to the menu and we'll get to this section at the end. As we progressed, we unlocked new countertops and new cards. So we're playing on the inventory and the inventory. I'm gonna now change it to Max Imp, that's a new countertop, and Team Fortress 2. They're not even related, but we're just gonna go down the line and play a hand here. So Team Fortress 2 as a card is not too bad, but some of these card styles are just awful. One of them, you couldn't even barely read it. One of them had the labels too low, so when the cards were here, you couldn't even see clearly what cards you had. One of them was a nightmare between trying to figure out if it was of the same suit or not, if you're not paying attention. So after every tournament win, you would win practically a new card table top, which is just an aesthetic thing. Sometimes these tabletops will change the way a specific character wins, so I'll hopefully be able to go through this whole system and not knock anybody out. Let's go ahead and just progress through it, actually. So the next one is called Trogdor, and then the next card styles Homestar Runner. So Homestar Runner, pretty bad. I mean, it's just an 8-bit thing. You can see most of the number here, but that isn't really great because I can't move the mouse lower to see this section. They didn't apparently test this that well. So I have a queen and a 10 here. Unfortunately, Max has gone all in already, which means I may have to go all in to just bring him back and lose this tournament. This is really sucky. Max has been eliminated from play. I needed specifically Max, if of any of them. And you can see the styles of these players very clearly. Max is crazy, doesn't even really look at his cards. Who is this? Strongbad? Yeah. I'm not even that familiar with Strongbad. He is overconfident. The heavy only likes to play really good hands, but he bids too much, and so if you have a great hand you can win him. And Tycho is by far the most difficult player to beat. So let's go to the next unlock and just work our way here. Telltale Games and 7X. Telltale Games is the name of the company that made this. I don't even know if you're really seeing the faces of them. Here's a funny joke. They're making fun of Telltale Games right there, but they're still commenting. They're still commenting even though I said mum's the word. They just won't shut up. I mean, that needs to be patched. If you don't want them to talk, you don't want them to talk. Let's go ahead and check, and let's talk about the statistics screen here since we keep coming to it. You have 1 of 4 items, each of which, once you get, would have gotten you an achievement. I got these really easily. Basically, all you have to do is knock out each of the characters when they put each of these items up instead of money. So randomly, but fairly often, they will say they don't have the money at the start of the tournament and put up these items instead, and then you have to be the specific player that knocks them out of the tournament to get the item. So it's not that you can win the tournament and some other player can take it out. It won't work that way. You get a poker name for as well as you do, but the poker name isn't really explained when it goes up or goes down, whether this is a good poker name or level 1, level 2. You can obviously go in the red forever, so you could just lose money, which is a great thing for a new poker thing, is that you don't have to delete save files or restart the character. You can just keep on going in the negative. It tells you some very basic statistics, but not anything heavy about what cards you get most often or anything that would be interesting to a more expert level poker player. Really, this game would not be good for anyone who is serious about poker. So next one is the Penny Arcade deck and the Automata tabletop. And with this one, Automata, I think, is a black and white game, or shades of gray as it is. And so the whole screen goes black and white, which is cool, but then you don't have the option to use that tabletop and not have it be black and white. And then look at how bad this deck is. This deck is just awful as a card style. Can you tell that this is a king? Can you read these little squiggles here and realize that that is the king? Do you know if that's the king of hearts or the king of diamonds? It's red, it should be one of them. Actually, that's the king of hearts. Is this a 7 or a 1? Is this a 5 or an S? Why would there be an S card? I don't know. This is just an awful card style. It's cool to look at, but it's horrible to actually be able to read the cards. So let's move on to the next one. So let's see. That is Penny Arcade. Next one is Poker Night and Red Team from Team Fortress 2. So now he is wearing the classic, the Heavy is wearing a classic dealer's hat because of the Red Team tabletop. And then this deck is just too bright. It's not terrible. It's not one I would pick though. It's just too bright on the reds. And oddly enough, this shade of red is darker than this shade of red. Interesting. So they're going all in. I don't even know what's really happening in the game because I'm not paying attention to that. Move on. Let's move on to the next one. We're gonna get these done. There's not a lot of them. A lot of these things required 3 tournament wins to unlock them. I got that in 24 hours, not by being even a good poker player. I got it by going all in on the first hand and just betting it all, and that's why I'm in the negative range. I could probably, if I played with strategy and took my time, be a couple $100,000 fake dollars up if I did that. So this one is called Fruit Friend, which is a reference to Penny Arcade. That's not really the name of that machine, but they cleaned it up. Speaking of cleaning it up, I mean, Gabe just cusses like non-stop. I turned off the censoring the beeping, and it's awful. It's really just awful how much he cusses. And the beeping is easy to ignore, but when you start hearing it, it's really, really too much. This deck is not too bad. This ace of spades has this weird, like, blood dropper, teardrop, I don't know, here. But the only real problem with this card set is it doesn't say a Q for queen here, so you have to kind of look. Sometimes that makes it a little difficult to tell what it is, but usually not too much. Moving on to the next unlocks. I played this, it says I've played for 24 hours. Frankly, it's probably true that I've played this in less than 48 hours. I recorded the first look, had nothing better that I could do at the time, so I just played poker for a couple of days, and I'm already done with the game. It's got nothing in it, no level system, no unlocks that require you to really do anything. So it's not even that I'm frustrated with the game as much as I am just complete with the game. the last two achievements, get 4 of a kind and get a straight flush, could take me forever, and I have no real interest in doing that. I have other poker games I could play that are better. So here's another just truly awful card set. None of these card sets should be bad for as little as there are. It is really, really difficult when you do this to see that this and this and this are all spades, or that this is a diamond and this is a diamond, but this is a heart. The only way I can really tell is I'm looking at the heart here, I'm looking at the diamonds here, I'm looking at the diamonds here. It's really, really hard to tell if you have a flush or not on this system. It's just a really, really bad thing. And then as far as the tabletop, this is the Video Electrics tabletop, which is a reference to Strong Bad and 8-bit video games, and that is why Strong Bad is now less polygony. His hands are now cubed. He has less graphic fidelity on his visuals. So take a look at Strong Bad and see what he looks like on the next table, and he'll go back to the way he is. Next one is Blue Team. We unlocked tables a lot faster than we unlocked cards. So the card sets should have been the best, but they're not. And that is all of them. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you had to win 3 tournaments to unlock all of them, I guess. And so that would be 8, 16, 24. Do the stats bear that out? Tournaments won 22, so a couple were unlocked at the beginning probably, or 1 or 2 of them didn't require 3 victories. There's nothing more to unlock in this game. So now we're on the blue team. He doesn't have the hat. Notice he is back to 3D graphics. Gee, if I had a tin, that would be nice. Just another tabletop. Why you would be so interested in having all these tabletops when there's not anything more to progress the game makes no sense. Here's another Strong Bad thing. Tabletop. Let's see. It's just a snake in this. I'm sure it's a reference to his game. And I had practically nothing in there. I won the game by paying that hand by paying no attention whatsoever. Let's move on to the next thing. If this feels kind of pointless, it is. That's what I'm trying to enforce here, is we still got a bunch. We have that one that just looks like that. That's Team Fortress. Twips and Caspi, what is this? I like the video angles that they do sometimes, that you'll get in some very different angles. This is some reference to Sam and Max, I think, but I can't even place it. It's so obscure. So they've got a pretty good sampling. Here's one that's really a shame Max is back here. It's Max Crossbones, and if you can see in the back, now Max is just a skeleton model. So it's a shame he's not right here so you could see him better. But if you see him walking in the background, that sitting here or back there is a different skeleton model. What is also interesting is they did a smart thing by putting all the very short characters, Max and Strongbad, on one side, and then they put the giant heavy here to kind of separate them. And then you have Gabe here on the end. So I guess it's slightly interesting to have Max be a skeleton. Next one is Freelance Police, which is just a normal tabletop, which you can't even see. I have to go to a flop each time if you want to see. And then there's chips on top of it. There's no special chip styles. I guess that would be one extra way you could go with it. There's no special costumes. There's way too little dialogue. I would gladly trade all the card styles and the dialogue for all the card styles and tabletops for more dialogue. We're almost done here. Telltale Shield. Another combination here. So with this one, it has all of the effects going at once. You're in black and white. He's wearing the hat. He's 8-bit. He's skeleton. So they just combined everything on that one. But each of those should be their own individual toggles. They definitely seem like experiments here. Experiments in a different costume, experiments in hats, experiments in them looking different, filters. Although why would you want to specifically a black and white filter on poker is beyond me. I'm just glad they didn't do the filter over the cards, then you would have even worse time reading it. So Poker Night at the Inventory, they could have easily just had it be that. So why this is probably should be the default tabletop, and it was unlocked by default. These last two were. So you could have the inventory that looks like this, or Poker Night at the Inventory. I think Poker at the Night at the Inventory is better. And then you have inventory security, which is at least a slightly different concept. So there's a glass top and you can see like security monitors and such there. Not really talking about the poker because there's not a lot that can be said about it. It's just poker. I think in easy mode it probably helps you. I think in hard mode it probably plays the game straight and gives you just the actual odds of getting a card. Maybe that's true, maybe it's not. There was one achievement for winning a tournament on hard, I think. Not really that difficult, just gotta get lucky, just go all in on a good hand, and all of these poker players are really, really bad. They're not great poker players. They don't play strategy. You can go all in, and they will just go all in on 7 high. They will go all in on. They don't think about it half the time. So this is not that kind of AI, and not having any real competition really kills any further playing of this game too. There's nothing more in the unlocks. Collecting these items is just an achievement stuff. Should toss those out. The card sets, there is a really old standard I remembered where you could make card sets for like DOS games, and they would be interchangeable because there was an actual standard. I would love to see that come back. So some people wouldn't have to make a mod for one specific game to have a new card deck. It should just be, you could make this card deck and use it in practically every card game. That would be really cool, but these days they're just as likely to charge you a 99-cent DLC for card decks, which I would highly not recommend. So to get back to the menu, from the exit menu, the escape, hitting escape, you can get here, new game, quit, all of that. One thing I want to point out is there's really only like 5 screens in this whole thing. Scenes and screens, actually. Seems like not a huge team spent not a lot of time on this. This seems like this was definitely a side project. It is kind of a cool concept. I think somebody other than Telltale would be much better suited to this. A company that has way more character models and way more dialogue in that they could get, and way better story writing than what they got, could do this. If you had EA doing this and it was like every single main protagonist from Assassin's Creed at one table, and then at the next table, what's a different EA game that series? I don't know. But I know EA has hundreds of games, so if you think about that, or if you had like Microsoft just doing it and every single game, so you'd be playing like Master Chief and what are some of their exclusives? I don't know. Oh man, I am not good about knowing which companies have anything. But my point here, if I can make a point without remembering any of the companies and their IPs, is that what they had to work with wasn't enough to keep my interest. Max, Strong Bad, the Heavy, Gabe, no way. This guy in the back is from a Sam & Max game. Oddly enough, when you mute their talk, you still get the sound effects of like when he rolled the dice right then. That is technically a sound effect, but that means you'd have to mute both the voice and the sound effects, which is it's possible. So at least I'll give him points for that. It's very, very strange that a poker game just runs out of steam in less than 24 hours. Poker is not a quick game, in no way. Normally, I would expect to spend at least 50 or 60 hours on a poker game if I was going to try to get to the end of it, whatever goals, whatever leveling system, whatever progress they put in the system. Now, if it's just a straight poker game with no progression at all, well, yeah, I might only play it every now and then, and do less than 24 hours. But this is just very strange. But there is good news. The good news is that I have Poker Night at the Inventory too, and I will be doing a spotlight of that very soon. That's where I'm moving all of my focus. I've already looked at the achievements for that. They are not based on getting specific hands. It seems to be much more based on other things. I imagine that they have taken a lot of what I've said and already improved upon it, since this is an older game, and we'll see that when I spotlight that. But yeah, this is me wrapping up and saying, if you get this game cheap, if you get this in a Telltale Games bundle like I did, play it. You can at least experience it for a little bit, but I would probably recommend to go with the newer version of any game if you're only going to get one. And that's where I'm going now, is I'm gonna spotlight that. As always, I ask that you like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to my channel, comment if you want to, and watch every second of my video. All of that helps me with YouTube. If you want to support me further, because I am a new YouTuber and could use a lot of support, this is the only thing I do as a career. Click on my name, Rydo. That gets you to my main YouTube page. From there you can subscribe, but also you can click the playlist to see any other games I'm playing or have played or reviewed. But if you stay on my main page, on the right is a blue button that says support this channel too. Click that and make a donation. That would be very helpful, very impactful. If you want to friend or follow me on any social media, which would be greatly appreciated, I have a bunch of links down below. So please do that. Need Facebook friends, need Twitter followers, need Google Plus followers even. So click on those, follow me, that would be very helpful. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.